Namaskar. I'm Dilip Sonar and welcome to the second video in the series. In this video, we'll look at what pranayam is and what precautions one should take and what preparations one should make before adopting the practices of pranayam. So, let's get started. However, before we do that, I would like you to take a moment to read the disclaimer. So, what is pranayam? Pranayam is made up of two Sanskrit words, prana and ayam. Ayam means to control or to get mastery over. And prana, there's no equivalent English word for prana. But you can think of prana as that energy which sustains the life within us. And so pranayam means a mastery over that energy which sustains life within us. Now, why should we do pranayam? Well, because it's an essential part of our complete yoga practice. And B, the Gheran Samhita says, Athataha sampravakshami pranayamasya sadvidhim yasya sadhana matrena devatulyo bhavennara. Which means, now I shall explain the technique of pranayama by mere practice of which a human being becomes like a god. And so I think pranayam is a practice that you adopt and practice and continue in your daily routine, not just to keep healthy. Pranayam is also important for our spiritual progress. For our spiritual progress, it is important that we realize that we are separate from our mind. You see, we get so identified with the mind, which is our thoughts and emotions, that we tend to forget that we are not our minds. And rather than we using our mind, the mind starts to use us. And it's only when the mind slows down or completely stops that the possibilities exist for us to experience different consciousness, different levels of consciousness. But then the question is, how do you actually slow down or stop your mind? I mean, we're so used to this constant non-stop chattering of the mind. How do you get out of the clutches of that mind? And so yogis observed that there's a connection between the state of our mind and our breathing. So when we are agitated, when we are angry, when we are anxious, we tend to breathe rapidly. And so by reverse engineering, is it possible that if we consciously slow down our breathing, that our mind will also slow down or stop? In Hatha Yoga Pradipika, chapter 2, verse 2, it says, Chale vate chalam chittam, nischale nischalam bhave, yogi sthanutvam apnoti, tato vayum nirodhayet. Which means, as prana, which is breathing, moves, chitta, that is mind, moves. And as prana tends to slow down, the mind also tends to slow down. And therefore, By this, that is steadiness of prana, the practitioner attains steadiness and should thus control or restrain the vayu, that is prana, through controlling breathing. And that's where the pranayam comes in. So there's a lot of material available on pranayam and pretty good books available as well. I would recommend that you go through some of those texts and books to get a even more deeper understanding of what pranayam is. So before we discuss the practices that I want to share with you, there are some ground rules that we need to follow. And Gheran Samhita in chapter 5, verse 2, states those ground rules. It says, Adau sthanam tatha kalam, mitaharam tatha param, nadi shuddhim tataha paschat, pranayamam cha sadhayet. Which means suitable place, time, moderate food, and purification of nadis are prerequisites for a good pranayam practice. So we have put together a set of rules for good practice of pranayam. And these rules are based on what has been suggested in Hatha Yoga, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and Gheran Samhita. So if you are new to pranayam, you're just starting the practice of pranayam, then what is the right time to start the practice? What's suggested in the text is that you should start the practice either in autumn or spring. And I think the reason could be because these two seasons, it's neither too cold or too hot. And certain pranayam practices can impact temperature of your body. And so what is the best time to do the pranayam? It is suggested that the good time to do pranayam is early morning at dawn. Some of the pranayams, such as humming bee pranayam, have been suggested to be done at midnight. But I don't want you to get up at midnight and wake up the whole house. So it's okay if you do them in the morning. So dawn is the right time. And for some reason, if you cannot do pranayam at dawn, then you can do it at dusk, when the sun is setting. And if you're doing it in the evening, what you need to ensure is that there is at least a 3 hours gap between your meal and the time that you do pranayam. And that's important. As far as possible, do pranayams on empty stomach. Now, the place. So find a place in your house where you will not be disturbed, and keep that place fixed for everyday pranayam. Now the asana, the seat on which you sit. So if you can sit cross-legged, then use yoga mat and have a cloth on top of it. But if you can't sit cross-legged, you can do these pranayams on sitting on a chair as well. And if you want, you can put a cloth on the chair and then keep it. And what I would suggest is keep that mat or rug or the cloth fixed and use it only for doing pranayam practice. And if you are sitting on a chair and putting a cloth on the chair, then keep that cloth same and do not use that for any other purpose. I would also suggest that as far as possible, do not share this the mat or rug or the cloth with others. Now, coming to clothes. There's no specific clothes that you need to wear as long as you're comfortable and as long as they are loose fitting. If you're sitting cross-legged especially, any set of clothes is good. And again, keep a pair of clothes and use them only for pranayam. Now, the reason for fixed place, fixed seat, fixed clothes, fixed time is because our brain works by association, associating one thing with another. And an example is if a fragrance is associated with a person in past, then whenever you smell that fragrance, the brain invokes the memory from past and you almost recreate the same feelings that you had with that person. And so we're just trying to use that functionality of the brain. So as you keep doing pranayama, as your mind starts to settle down and slow down, same time, same place, same seat, same clothes, brain will associate all of this with the state of mind which is calm and quiet. So the next time you do this, you're automatically in that state of mind, which helps to progress faster in pranayama practice. And that is the reason why you should keep this same. Okay, in terms of your eating or sleeping habits or drinking, what is suggested is mitahar. So moderation in everything is all we need. And slowly you will see as you progress in your practice that your body is telling you how much to eat, what not to eat, how much to drink, what not to drink, how much to sleep. And these changes are then governed by a different factor, the changes which are happening within your body. So the rule is everything but in moderation. And finally, unless absolutely necessary, do not harm any being. Not physically, but even verbally. So with these set of rules, which loosely can be called as yamas and niyamas, external and internal discipline, we should be ready to learn few practices. And that will be all in this video. In the next video, I'll share with you some micro exercises which I advise you do every day before you do pranayama. So I'll see you in the next video. Namaskar.